I really appreciate how you mentioned the previous cycle of change that's most present to me, which was the pandemic, and how there were so many shifts in the approaches of grant making that are kind of aligned with trust-based practices. And the hope that I described of the recurring cycles of change, the through lines, is that we can improve upon those. Those kinds of interventions, those trust-based in nature, the flexible and reliable funding are important first steps. And those are insufficient for closing the gaps that we're talking about. And that this time around, we get to do it better. This time around, from the onset, we get to speak across sectors. We get to have the conversations behind the scenes with our private sector partners and align around values, our public sector partners and align around values. We get to get a clearer sense of what the challenges are across those sectors and pool our collective thinking in addition to our financial resources. Because philanthropy is just a drop in the bucket, although we have an outsized narrative for the impact of what's possible with with philanthropic dollars alone. And so we just want to appreciate that philanthropy is best when seen inside of a broader set of resources that exist across sectors, and that the largest pool of resources exists outside of philanthropy in the public sector in particular.
I agree, but I am thinking that what is important for us right now is to be stewards of what is in our immediate control.
That's absolutely right.
You know, when I think of examples that have worked really well, is that, you know, we've worked with a community land trust that was able to purchase an apartment building and to rehab it for affordable housing. Right, and so this enabled them to take it off the speculative market, right, and put it in the hands of community, right, turning it to community control.
That's right.
Well, this was in part done by a financial institution deciding that they wanted to do something different and to provide funding to us that would allow us to put out 0% capital.
Wow, this is beautiful.
Right, so I think that there's ways to be more creative, more innovative, that doesn't require sign off from boards and trustees. You know, it rests with decision makers that can contribute to immediate change.
And that you made the point that is so important for all of us to consider. We can talk about PRIs, MRIs, right? These investment packages that can be used by grant-making institutions to offer resources at very low interest rates or no interest. And to deviate from the traditional practices of the institutions requires what we all generally refer to as leadership. It's courage. To break away from the norm has an emotional impact on grant makers in a way that sometimes stays beneath the radar. The times require unconventional change and uncertainty. People who offer a kind of will for change, a willingness to adapt, to be differently, to persevere through discomfort, to then explore what's possible and not simply what's practical.